Tori, thank you. Putting the brakes on trains carrying oil and other hazardous material. That's what an emergency order issued by the Federal Railroad Administration is looking to do by requiring certain trains to travel under 40 miles an hour in certain areas. But not our area. CBS 6's Kimberly Howard live near the tracks in Albany right now. Kimberly, why wasn't the Capital Region on the list?
Well, and an FRA spokesperson tells me that the list was compiled based on population, and the population here in the Capital Region isn't as large as a place like Chicago, which did make the list. Now, county officials admit that trains in this area don't go faster than 40 miles an hour as it is, but they still want this designation to ensure that it stays that way.
Early in the morning.
BB White lives feet away from these tracks that run right through the Port of Albany. It's known as one of the busiest oil train hubs in the nation.
Yeah, the whole house be moving, like an earthquake or something.
And it's not just the noise that's a concern. Advocates like Sandy Stubing, who represents People of Albany United for Safe Energy, or PAWS, have been pushing for a ban on the rail transport of crude oil altogether. She says safety regulations like increased thermal protection and tougher tank cars won't do the job.
Because it's so explosive. We have seen 9 explosive derailments since July of 2013.
That's nationwide, she says, but before the most recent restriction from the Federal Railroad Administration. A newly issued emergency order requires oil trains and other trains carrying hazardous material to travel under 40 miles an hour. That's when they're in so-called high-threat urban communities. The FRA released a list of those high-threat communities, and the Capital Region isn't one of them.
I am feeling left out. I mean, we sent a letter back September 29th to Secretary Fox, saying that we want these speed limits lowered here, the positive train control, all these stuff we added into our letter, and we just got ignored.
A spokesperson for the FRA told me on the phone that the list is based on population and that this area didn't make the cut. Advocates say that reasoning isn't good enough.
It's about protecting everybody, regardless if you have a little city, it goes through a little village with 10 people. I don't care if it's 10 or a million, we should all be treated the same.
Albany County Executive Dan McCoy says he plans to draft another letter calling for more regulations on these rail cars. Coming up at 6, we take a look at some of the most recent derailments and why this most recent order from the FRA wouldn't necessarily have stopped them. Live in Albany, Kimberly Howard, CBS 6 News.